Mr. Jaishankar, we referred to it some time back. Can it all get undone? Can it all come tumbling down? I mean, we're talking about an election where everybody is sort of assuming that it's going to be a sweep for the BJP. And we've gone a certain route under the Modi government on foreign policy. It's not about 24, 29. I mean, my question to you is, we've seen what happened after the Pathankot, Balakot airstrikes. We've seen what we did with the Russian oil imports, how we took a position. But we've also seen, I mean, the word I would use is the pusillanimity of Indian foreign policy in the past. And I see this manifest, for example, in the Congress Party manifesto, which says, straying from foreign policy, that the office of the National Security Council and the office of the NSA should be brought under the oversight of a select committee of Parliament. So one would argue then that would the National Security Council or Mr. Doval's office, which he holds today, come under the supervision of the Danish Alis and the Mahua Maitras in the future? It's a very realistic question because it's been put up as a proposition, whereas the world is getting specialized, domain experts. So I asked myself, were it not to be a straight election where we see a Modi victory, would it not be a matter of concern that the most populous country in the world would have its foreign policy turned on its head should the result be different?
I think fortunately there won't be cause for concern.
Oh, fortunately.
Yes. So I think your worries are misplaced.
This time?
No, look, I'm optimistic about our country. I'm not saying we don't have challenges. But since you mentioned some things, let me respond to it. First of all, you must be one of the few people who's read the Congress Manifesto. I don't know how many places.
I read. I have even.
I compliment you on your hard work.
I would even read the CPM Manifesto.
But the fact is that if you look at most countries in the world, the National Security Advisor in almost any country, I can't think of any country where they actually are treated as a part of a parliamentary oversight.
Yes.
So I think whoever wrote it, I mean, what can I say?
It won't have relevance.
In any case, I admire the fact that you at least bothered to read the manifesto, since there will not be an occasion for anything practical to happen with that manifesto. This will remain an academic point. But there is a larger issue that you have raised, and the issue is this. You see, in the last 10 years, there have been some significant changes in the manner in which we conduct foreign policy. Not just in policies themselves. I can give you, as I said, give me any major account and I will show you that there has been change, and change for the better. Yeah. But if you look at some core issues which I think today should worry the Indian voter. Okay. One core issue, you will agree, Arnab, is terrorism.
Yes.
Okay. See, now you have to look at the change in the last decade as opposed to the previous decade. And I take you back to actually 2611. If you remember 2611, if you see people, accounts of 2611, including by the NSA of the previous government, essentially 2611 happens, the best minds of the government apply themselves. There is, deep sort of consultation and confabulation, and then they collectively decide. What do they decide? To do nothing. So they go through this whole manthan and say, oh, by the way, the best policy is we should do nothing.
What are you referring to here?
2611.
Specifically, okay. Was there a policy note in which they ever said that?
No,
that we will do nothing?
Please read Shiv Shankar Menon's account of it. So my point is that if at the end of it all, because terrorism, terrorism is not something which happened today, yesterday. Terrorism started in 1947, a few months after our independence. The first attack on Kashmir was a terrorist attack of tribal invaders on a deniable basis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, instead of from day one calling out terrorism, fighting terrorism, what did we eventually do? We ended up on the conference table. No? And that's how you ended up with a ceasefire line. Now, my point is that the way to fight today, the people of India believe very deeply that there are some issues on which government should take a strong, uncompromising stance. Similarly,
but we can't take that for granted.
We can't take it for granted.
For example, with China, we can't take it for granted. I agree with you on the terrorism issue, but thank you for complimenting me on reading the Congress Manifesto, which also says that 370 will be brought back effectively. And my big concern is, since the election interview, Mr. Jaishankar, is that people are concerned. Okay, there's an assumption Mr. Modi will come back, but people are concerned, what if that were not to be the case? I mean, what would be our relationship with China?